Every team, every topic, everywhere. This is Believe.
Welcome to the Odds Breakers, number one place for shared, sharp betting information.
Welcome back to Podcast 108 of 2025. I'm your host, Kiev O'Neill. Follow me on Twitter at OBKiev. Follow us at The Odds Breakers and follow us on social media / The Odds Breakers. This episode is being brought to you by FanDuel Sports, a proud partner with the NFL. If you'd like to support The Odds Breakers and benefit from our premium plays, please visit theoddsbreakers.com, click shop, and become a member. Pick any of our winning cappers to get the premium plays before the line moves. You can also support us on patreon.com. If nothing else, please visit The Odds Breakers and become a free Picks and Telegram subscriber. The NFL never sleeps. And another man that never sleeps is Mr. Mike North, Chicago sports radio legend. And he loves the Bears and he loves Chicago. And I cannot wait to bring him on to talk some Bears Packers as well as the big slate of NFL games. But before he comes on, man, I want to talk a little bit about Puka Nakua. Holy cow. He went on some YouTuber or whatever, Aiden Ross's show, and did some goofy things. But the thing that wasn't goofy is he called out the NFL refs, saying sometimes they just throw flags to get on TV. And then they get in a group chat to say, you see me on Sunday Night Football? That wasn't pass interference, but I called it. What's funny about that is it almost sounds like he wasn't serious, but I think he actually kind of was serious because that's kind of the crap that you're seeing. You know, I mean, Coley Parkinson getting a touchdown being a yard and a half short. The replay shows it and they give it to him anyway. The nice thing is that actually benefited Nakua. Well, not his stats. It benefited Parkinson's, but it benefited the Rams and his team. But he's completely right. The refs do things for whatever reason. And we don't know if it's to get on TV. I think some of them do like attention. But the fact that he called it out makes me extremely proud of him because we need more voices like that to fix the game. You know, the game really needs to be fixed. And the media is scared to talk about it. They're scared because they don't want to get fired because the NFL does not want that kind of vibe being put through on national airwaves. They don't want anybody thinking like that, but everyone does because they see it. So it's kind of one of those things that as soon as it does finally get exposed, I think people are going to be like, oh, you know, I kind of saw this but held back and wanted to talk about it. You're going to get media analysts acting like that. And it's just going to be a big circus, but it just shows you how, you know, cowardly many of them are. You know, it's funny. It's the people that aren't working for ESPN and the big networks. You know, there's some big names out there like Sharp Football, right? Warren Sharp and Barstool Sports and, you know, many other big ones who actually flat out call it out. You know, it's literally a joke. And so very proud of Puka, you know, for being active enough and saying something, standing up for the ridiculousness that we have to put up with every single freaking week. You know, I mean, it's absolute ridiculousness. So obviously we hate ourselves, so we still bet on the NFL. You know, you just hope that the line is off enough to make up for some of the variance. I had a hell of an NFL start this year. I've been kind of bad the last few weeks. College football, I haven't lost a bowl yet. College basketball has been great. UFC's been hot. NFL has been taking a hit. So hopefully this week we can fix that with Mike North. But before Mike comes on, NFL ATS is something we talk about. And so I'd like to start that quick segment right now, looking at the best covering teams in the Rams and the Seattle Seahawks, ironically playing each other Thursday Night Football, 10-4 against the spread, both of them. Then you got the Bears and the Jaguars. New coaches kicking ass, 9-5 against the spread, both of those teams. Patriots 8-5-1. The 49ers creeping 8-5-1. Kind of had a glorious little end of the year schedule so far for the Niners. Then you have the Colts 7-5-2 of that kind of started leaking oil. Let's go to the worst teams. Baltimore 5-9 against the spread. Washington 5-9. Tampa Bay and Las Vegas 5-9, and Cleveland 5-9. Kansas City 5-8-1. I remember 5 games they covered this year. So that's your worst covering teams for 2025. The totals: Dallas, the biggest overs team, 10-4. You have then Detroit, Tennessee, the Giants, the Jets, the Cardinals, all 9 overs and 5 unders going to the bottom of the list. We got unders teams: the Kansas City Chiefs 4-10, the Saints 4-10, the Houston Texans 4-9-1, and then you have the Philadelphia Eagles that is 5-9. So those are your biggest unders teams so far in the NFL. But we have a lot to talk about. So let's bring in our wonderful guest, ESPN 1000's Mike North. Now I'm very excited to welcome back a Chicago radio legend and the one and only Mike North from ESPN 1000. You can follow Mike on X at North2North. Mike, here we go again. Bears, how are you doing, my man?
I'm doing great. The Bears are doing great. I never thought in my wildest imaginations, 61 years I've been a fan, for Christ's sake. Did you ever think that they were going to be at this position right now? Nobody did. I think Then Kiev has done in my lifetime, and like I said, I've been a fan since 1961. In my lifetime, as a Bear fan, the best first-year coaching job a Chicago Bear coach has ever done. I mean, he took over a team that couldn't get out of its own way last year, and he's just been great as a play caller. He has not passed the ball all over the football field like we thought he was going to do because of his days in Detroit. He knew he's playing outdoors in a lot of venues. They built the offensive line. Ryan Poles has made a comeback. They're opening up holes. I never thought they'd beat Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And when they had Sayers and all these runners, Peyton and Suey together, they never ran for 250 yards in a game.
No.
And that's what they did against Philadelphia.
It's amazing. And, I think Peyton once had 276 once, and I don't think anybody else had rushing yards. Yeah, that was it's just been amazing to watch, man. But I got to tell you, I'm excited for the Bears. I said even the worst owners can get lucky every once in a while and accidentally fall into somebody great.
Oh, yeah.
I think that's what they did with Ben Johnson.
Right.
But I got a little quick story to tell you about my last weekend, if you got a minute, Mike.
I love it. Go ahead.
All right. So, my son's 11 years old, clubs baseball. Last weekend, we're at this tournament called the Sandlot. And it's out in East Mesa, right? We're still doing tournaments where baseball doesn't stop down here in Arizona land. But I'm an idiot because I'm the guy that sits behind the home plate, watching these umps make these terrible calls while the rest of the rest of the parents are smart enough to stay far away and not even put themselves through that kind of pressure. So. We're playing this team, and they're pretty good, the Sandlot. And I look to my left. Do you know who's standing next to me?
Who?
Pat Murphy.
Wow.
Yes, Manager of the Year, Pat Murphy.
Wow.
And
he's made his buddy Craig Console a bridesmaid. So
absolutely. So I'm like thinking to myself, wow, scouting these kids at 11 years old, I just starting pretty young. And then I look in the middle. The kid's last name has Murphy on him that my son is playing against, and I'm like, okay, that's his team. And then later somebody told me that Sandlot is his team. This is his club's team, and it's funny. It's like I've probably ran into him a few times actually around the dime. He's just being a nice, normal guy. He's not coaching. I think I seen him go in the dugout, but he lets his coaches do his thing. So that was kind of fun. And, his son all of a sudden crushes a triple, like way out there. And I'm thinking to myself, thank God my son wasn't pitching at this moment because, I'm like, Jesus, man. But, when that happened, I felt like the Chicago Cubs. I felt once again just like the Cubs, seeing Murphy destroy us, and that's basically what happened. And it was fun. It was cool. I introduced myself. I talked to him. He's a very nice dude. On the way out, he made an attempt to say goodbye to me, and I thought that was nice of him too. And it's a fun little tournament. But just seeing Pat Murphy, the manager of the year, sitting there watching my son play baseball was definitely
That's awesome.
a surreal experience.
Well, baseball guys love baseball, and if they have kids involved, and they get a lot of involvement. But you said it right. I mean, Pat Murphy. I think the Cubs bring back a guy named Thielbar yesterday, 38 years old. They let go of Keller. He goes somewhere else, and this guy was one of their better relief pitchers. So I don't know what they're doing right now.
Keller was good. Yeah, I agree. I thought Keller was one of the
and they decided to let him go, and they re-signed Thielbar, and like we're supposed to get all excited, a 38-year-old journeyman. So we'll see what happens. But Pat Murphy runs that division, and it's just comical how the Cubs paid Consul $8 million a year, and he's finishing as a bridesmaid to a team that he helped at the beginning of his managerial career.
Well, it turns out that he coached the owner of the organization, who's like the head coach of a lot of different AZ 643 teams, Jeff Landry. He actually is friends with Council too. So so he's good buddies with him. He was Pat Murphy was his Arizona State coach back then. So that's when Pat Murphy coached ASU, and that's how they're tight. So, it's just kind of like a tight baseball world down here in Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
It's a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
A lot of fun.
Yeah, it's good you play all year round. We weren't given that opportunity. Growing up in Chicago, you wouldn't get warm. It doesn't get warm till June. I remember playing high school ball in May. We were freezing to death. So, that's where the hot water states, if you want to be a ball player, you have the advantage. No doubt.
Well, I wanted to tell Pat to take it easy on the Cubs this year, but I didn't. I decided not to. I didn't think he would oblige to that anyway.
I agree with you.
Let's get into some football then, my man.
All right.
Tua Tagovailoa benched. Was he properly benched, you think?
You know what? I'm torn on this one, but he did lead the league in interceptions. He admitted himself he's not playing well. Maybe it's just a temporary break. I know that they're into him for a lot of money next year. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't come back next year, but then I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. It's a 50-50 proposition right now, but I think they want a different look. They want to see what this kid Ewers can do. I can tell him what he's going to do. He's not going to do as much as Tua would do, in my opinion. I think that they've hit a wall a little bit. I don't think it's just his fault, but that pass he threw the other night was inexcusable to Santi Samuel. So I look at it as I have no gripe with it. And he didn't have much of a gripe with it. So right now he's going to get paid no matter what, but I'm sure he'd love to start. I'm sure he's not happy about it, but that's just the way it goes.
Well, he's getting paid $50 million a year, he's
not getting it done.
Well, he got lackadaisical, man. You could see it in his eyes. You could see he wasn't even prepared the last game. And what's this? You can't play under 35 degrees. Half the teams you got to go play in under 35 degrees in the NFL. If you can't play in under 35 degrees, you don't belong out there. That's the whole thing about Tua.
It's always been something that hot weather states or cities have to deal with. Coming to Green Bay, if you will, coming to Chicago. Back in the day, Minnesota, you didn't want to play at Metropolitan Stadium before they built the dome that they have now. I think 12, 13 teams have domes now, and it's probably going to grow. I can foresee a day when most of the teams, maybe a third only, will have open door stadiums, open air stadiums. So I'm glad Buffalo's doing it. I'm sad that Cleveland's building a dome. But the all-purpose stadiums, the wanting to host Final Fours has come into the equation. I know that the Chicago Bears are playing their little bluff game again. They're threatening to move from Illinois to Indiana. They've tried this ploy 3, 4, 5 times. It's political posturing, but to bring it up right before the holidays, we may need tax dollars. Otherwise, we're going to leave Illinois. To bring it up before the Green Bay game, I thought was poor taste by the organization, and it doesn't surprise me. They're having a good year on the field. They continue to baffle people off the field. That stadium should have been signed up and ready to go in Arlington Heights, Illinois, a year ago, and Kevin Warren has just boondoggled that whole thing. So now they're going to go look at their third site. It's just it doesn't make sense. I've been hearing they were going to have a new stadium since 1975.
I mean,
and it's 2025. So you know what? In my lifetime, and I plan on living another 10, 15, 20 years at least, I don't think I'll see a new stadium here. That's just the way it is.
We could do 10 shows on Chicago politics and how poor Kevin Warren is as a leader and as a president of an organization. And I've already ranted enough about that. But I think that there was a big part of home field advantage to having that coldness, and I like what Buffalo's. I like what Buffalo's going to do: control the wind, but keep it open. I kind of think I'm kind of starting to like what they're doing, but the whole stadium thing is.
Well, even if you look at they always say this too. If you go to Tampa Bay as a cold weather team in December, or you go to Miami, there are people in Jacksonville. There are teams that are conditioned already to playing in cold weather, and when they get out there around the third quarter with the 2, 3, 4 minute mark left in the third quarter, you start to see them wear down if it's a close football game, and that's happened before. I mean, I remember even the Bears in their heyday in the 80s, they'd go down to Tampa, and it wouldn't always be easy. So, and then they went to Miami on that Monday night, and they got beat. Now, was it because of the weather? I don't think so. It was humid that night. It was a little windy. But, they did change climates. There's no doubt about it. They went down there and they got beat.
Who wins the NFC North?
Wow, it's wide open. But I'm gonna lean Detroit. Okay. I'm gonna lean Detroit. I think that they can still do it. I think the Bear-Green Bay game is huge. Whoever loses that game is in big trouble. Green Bay already beat them once, but now we're playing at Soldier Field. The Bears are 1-point underdogs, so I found that sort of baffling. I thought that the way that the Chicago Bears are playing, that they'd be and they really let Green Bay off the hook the last time. So Ben Johnson wants this game. There's no question about it. And they're going to give all effort that they can. But Jordan Love and them coming off a bad game against Denver, I happened to pick Denver in that game. I couldn't believe they were 2.5-point dogs. So you got a team in Green Bay, and maybe this is the parity years. They lost to Cleveland earlier this year. They lose to Denver on the road. Now they're coming back, and they're coming to Chicago, we've been owned by Green Bay. So we'll see what happens. Jordan Love's a different animal. They have lost Micah Parsons. There's no question about that. But I think even a bigger loss for the Green Bay Packers is their tight end Kraft. Things started really, getting sketchy up and down with the Packers once the tight end got hurt. The tight end's now as prominent in football as they've ever been. So Kraft was a big loss for them and some other people. They still got some injury problems.
Yeah, they do, and we do too. But we still have two tight ends, and we have a DJ Moore and a Zacchaeus that's pretty good too. So I'm not super worried about the somewhat cluster injury.
I want to say hi to my guy Aldo Gandia from the Barroom Network. We're partners. God bless him. Does Mike own property in Gary, Indiana?
I mean, it's funny. Who would want to own property there? You have to be a slumlord or something.
Here's what I'm gonna say to my friend. God bless him. He's been a little under the weather lately. I love him like a brother. I will say this: there's so much. I live out in the out west now. I live in right off of 90 and 47. Anybody knows in Illinois, Huntley, Illinois, Kane County, McHenry County. I don't know why the Bears aren't coming out there. There's so much farmland that you can see for miles and miles. If you're going to move somewhere, so stay in the state, go to a different county, and see if you could work out some deals, because they're looking for tax breaks and everything else. To stay around Gary, Indiana, or to go to Arlington Park if they don't want. They should have never knocked down Arlington Park, but the Bears bought it, and now they're trying to change their mind. So we'll see what happens. I just thought it was a bad timing on the Chicago Bears' part to let this stuff out. And then they have their bagmen down at Hallis Hall that are saying they're not bluffing this time. Well, they're telling them they're not bluffing. How else would the writers know? Give me a break. So I was just at a Christmas party with guys I grew up with 60 years ago. Out of the 13 guys, 10 think the Bears are bluffing. So we'll see what happens. They're the pride of joy in Illinois. They're not the pride and joy of Indiana. Yeah. So, and will Indiana want give tax breaks to the Chicago Bears moving to Indiana when they got a football team the Indianapolis Colts 150 miles away from where the Bears want to build. So this is all political posturing, in my opinion.
I 100% agree, my man. Let's go to some games then. We have a lot to discuss.
Yeah, baby, I'm ready. I did my homework early for you because you like to throw things at me.
And I appreciate that, Mike. And we have 2 games on Saturday. We have the Eagles versus the Commanders, and the Commanders are now +7. The total is 44.5. I'm going to tell you right now, I just laid it with the Eagles at 6.5 before this move. I know they're missing a couple guys, a Lane Johnson and a Jalen Carter, but it doesn't matter. This Commanders team is toast. They're done. This Commanders defense is worse than I've ever seen, and the Commanders are also facing a lot of injuries themselves. The team's in disarray. The Eagles kind of own this team when they come in, and now the Eagles, people say, "Oh, it was the Raiders last week." Well, sometimes teams just need a slump buster, and I think the Eagles got their slump buster. I think this is not a competitive game. Washington is not going to have a home field advantage in this situation. I think it's going to be a snoozer, and you're probably going to turn on some college football playoffs when by halftime in this game.
Yeah, this would be a game I'd stay away from. I know the money's coming in on Philadelphia right now, and my opinion is that that the Washington Commanders, their season ended when Jaden Daniels went down. They've had other injuries themselves. Pat Quinn, I was never a big Pat Quinn guy, but last year was a shocker to me, and that they did so well. And then this year, and this is what I hope doesn't happen to the Bears. What I want from the Bears is a 5-year, 6, 7-year run. You don't want to go like they've done since I was a kid, have a good year and then have 3 bad years. So Washington's going to, if Jaden Daniels can stay healthy, and that's a big if because he's been hurt more than once this year. But right now, this would be a stay-away game for me. I'd probably take the 7 and probably get my ass kicked because at this time of year, I think the common denominator is which team's getting a ton of points, okay, at the end of the year, have not quit, are still playing hard for their coach. And I agree with you on Washington, so I'd probably stay away.
All right, let's move on to the Bears then. And obviously, we talked a little bit about this matchup with some of the people missing on the Bears. The good news is that the Bears have figured out how to run the football. And with Monagai and Swift, they've been doing a really good job. You have to remember that the Packers did lose Wyatt, their clogging nose tackle, and they have a few guys that come up, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. It might have been in Lambeau, but I'm not sure if this team can get up off the ground after losing such a key explosive superpower like Micah Parsons. And to be honest with you, this Bears team, I hate to say the word "do" when it comes to sports betting. I think they circle this game. I think they're ready to come back. If you actually watch that Bears-Packers game, it was a 50-50 game for the most part. I like Jordan.
Oh yeah, they let him off the hook. Caleb Williams said they let him off the hook. I happen to agree with them.
Have you come around on Caleb, Mike? Have you come around on him?
Well, I only describe what I see each year. Last year, he was dreadful. Mm-hmm. Okay.
I agree. I agree. He was bad, and he has a great coach now, and that coach is making him a star.
And just like Fields was dreadful, and, I would battle the locals on Fields. I said he was dreadful, and people were fighting me on him.
Look at him now.
Because I was a Mitch guy. But this is one of these deals where, how can I get mad at the kid? He's got a better coach now. They restocked the offensive line. The play calling in my all my years, I was able to always predict what the Bears were going to run, almost every play. Whether it be handoff, draw play, pitch out to Peyton, short pass to the tight end. I can't figure out what Ben Johnson's going to call, and that's because he knows he has a running game. He plays for the fourth quarter. Caleb Williams comes through in the fourth quarter. Before the fourth quarter, Caleb Williams, from accuracy to everything else, a little tough. I also want to give the Bear receivers credit. Some of the catches they're making, including one that was reminiscent of the Dwight Clark Montana throw to DJ Moore last week, through 2 guys, was one of the best throws I've ever seen and one of the best catches. So each week, the Bears are making great catches. If the Bears ain't going to beat them this game, they're never going to beat them. I think that they're ripe for the picking, but yet they're underdogs at home because the Green Bay Packers have owned them. More under Favre and Rodgers, but Jordan Love won last time. So probably, the Bears this year, I've bet with them. I bet the Bears 5 times this year. I've won with them twice. I bet against them 3 times, and they've beaten me. So They've come through. They beat me in the Washington game. They beat me in the Raider game when they blocked the field goal. So they've come up and they lead the league in turnovers.
Yeah.
Dennis Allen, I don't know. See, I remember the Bears leading the league in turnovers in other years, and then the next year they couldn't get a turnover, and their defense was exposed. But as long as you're getting 2-3 turnovers a game, and I keep hearing people saying they can't do it every week, they are doing it every week.
Yeah, Bears will run the football down their throats.
Oh, yeah.
If they win the game, I would lay up to 1.
I hope so, baby. I hope they win the game because I want to see them in the playoffs, and I don't want to hear anybody say, see, they made the playoffs, but they didn't do anything. Nobody in America had the Bears at 10 wins. If they win this
nobody
week,
did.
it's 10 wins.
I'm glad I did. I'm glad I didn't take their under too because I thought about it. So I'm just.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought that Ben Johnson could be as good as advertised, and that's what it is.
You asked me about Caleb. It's. I don't have Caleb syndrome. Okay, I have Bear syndrome over the years.
Right.
You know, they surprise me once every 6-7 years, and they suck the rest of the time. I mean, in the 70s, they were dreadful. The early 80s, they were dreadful. They had a 5-year run in the 80s. We thought they'd go to 2-3 Super Bowls. They only went to 1. Then they went back down again. So what I'm hoping is that we're building a continuity. And if we could get into the playoffs, that just sets things up for the Bears next year.
Bears Pick'em is my play for this.
Baby,
show.
I can't argue with you. I will not bet against the Bears. I'll tell you that right now. They aren't afraid to play anybody. Ben Johnson gives them that confidence. They got a comparable and a competent guy at the top. I was wrong about Ben Johnson.
Well, here's a game.
I said he didn't deserve $13 million to be the 7th highest rated paid quarterback in football. Mm-hmm. What's he done? Well, he's done the best first-year coaching job I've ever seen a Bear coach do. Period. Ditka had to clean out lockers his first year, and Ditka was great. But they built through the draft. That was the last great rebuild in Chicago, the 85 Bears. They built everything through the draft, from Singletary to the Fridge, to Becker, to Bortz, to McMahon. Every player on that team was homegrown. So they didn't have free agency back then, and they didn't take advantage of it. So, but then that's been it. And they only made it to one time. So I think Ben Johnson is worth the $13 million, at least this year for sure.
Bills Browns plus 10.5. I'm passing, Mike. I just think this is a flat spot for the Bills after the Patriots win. I don't want to mess with it, but that's also the Browns, so pass.
I'm going to lean the Buffalo Bills in this one. I think that they continue the momentum. I think Josh Allen proved to everybody last week. I think the momentum is going to for Cleveland to get 10.5 points. I know they got Myles Garrett. Yeah, I get humored by the Packer fans. We lost Micah Parsons. Well, I looked at his record with Dallas and his playoff record. I don't see a Super Bowl. I see 1-3. Are they going to be worse off without him? Absolutely right. But Myles Garrett, they need more than him to beat Buffalo. I think the amount of points that they're getting makes you want to lean the Cleveland Browns. I would lean the Buffalo Bills.
All right, next game we have. It looks like it disappeared.
It's like a quiz show, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do you like the answers I've given you?
I love it. I love it.
All right.
I love it. You're nailing every single one of them. Cowboys hosting the Chargers. Look at that.
Nakatomi Plaza. What a party that was. I got to tell you. Bruce Willis.
Die Hard's a Christmas movie, my man.
Oh, absolutely.
Cowboys.
Except to Mr. Takagi.
I'm going to have to rewatch that. It's been a minute. Cowboys minus 2.5, total 49.5. You know what's interesting about this line, Mike? Watch when the Eagles win this freaking tank, because the Cowboys are out of the playoffs once the Eagles win. But the question is, will they still be motivated? I don't know. I mean, Jerry Jones is kind of a nutty guy. I assume they're still going to try to win in front of their home crowd. It's like players don't necessarily tank.
All right, now tell everybody in America who they're playing, and then we'll talk about the line.
Well, it's the Chargers, and the Chargers have the much better coach.
They have the much better coach. They have I still think Mike McCarthy got a raw deal. I'm sorry. He won 12 games like 2-3 years in a row. He had that one off year, and he got replaced, and he had a 1-3 playoff record. But I thought that, 1 year you got rid of him, and now you got Brian Schottenheimer. And what's he done? He was the coordinator on that team that McCarthy coached, so he was probably primping for the job even while he was with McCarthy. All of a sudden, this guy gets named. I'm going to go I'm going to go with the Chargers in this one.
Yeah.
I just think that you say teams circle teams. I think that the Dallas Cowboys have excellent receivers. I think Dak Prescott is a hell of a quarterback, but he just can't get it done when it comes to the big games. He just doesn't get it done. And I'm not just blaming him. I'm blaming the whole organization as far as that goes.
I like the Chargers some too.
Yep.
I think if you like him, you bet him now because you're not getting a 3. And
No.
as soon as the
No.
Eagles win, the line's going to tank to 0 because they're going to say Dallas is out. They're not going to try. And I'm not sure if they're going to try. That's just the narrative of the public betting, and the odds makers will adjust. So that's exactly what you can expect on this one. Next
Right.
game, Vikings, Giants plus 2.5, total 1 plus 1/3, or total 43.5. Money line is plus 130 on the Giants. You know,
Yeah.
this Minnesota team's tripped me up a little bit. I tried to take a stab.
I've won lately. I've won the last 2 weeks with them, but before that, they were tripping me up. Believe me.
I don't know what I'm not sure what I'm going to get because I love Kevin O'Connell. I think he's a good coach, and McCarthy is just.
He's going to be good.
I think he's supposed to be good. I mean, the last 2 weeks he did, but then again, he played the Cowboys, which their defense is terrible, and they played the Washington Commanders. Now they're playing the Giants. It's kind of like a nice little ride for their schedule here, playing all these terrible teams. But the Giants are a team that kind of fought for a while. They had the Bears on the ropes and then kind of choked. It was a situation where Jackson Dart, if he's risking his head and his concussions, he can beat anybody because that's what he does. But if he's getting, that's the problem with the running quarterback. Sure, you got the extra fourth, I guess skill position if you're making him run, right? It's another weapon. You got that secret weapon. You've seen it enough with the Ravens and all running quarterbacks. But once they get hurt, that's the risk. It's a high risk.
Well, he's
high
taking
reward.
heat.
Yeah.
He's taking heat.
I'm gonna pass on this myself, but I can't get to a side, being that I think Minnesota. How long can this keep going? I don't know. They're looking good. I'll lean Minnesota.
I will say this about the Giants. Jackson Dart's taking heat because they're going to depend on him next year. And if the kid doesn't want to get out of bounds, take it from a guy who watched Jim McMahon, who could have used sliding as one of the major rules back in the day when they didn't really have it.
Nobody did it. Nobody did it in 85.
Nobody slid. Nobody did this. Nobody.
If they slid in 85, they would get laughed off the field. That's exactly because it was all about hitting people.
I'll tell you what I can't stand is all these from Cook, from Buffalo, and all these running backs that run out of bounds instead of cutting against the grain. I just saw something on Twitter today. I retweeted it. Walter Payton running 60 yards, never ran out of bounds.
Payton did it right with his shoulder, too. He did it right with his shoulder.
This running out of bounds. And I saw where Jason Whitlock put up that there's only been 5 quarterbacks this year that have had over 250 yard passing on the average, where back 10, 15 years ago, or even as long as 5 years ago, there was 13. So the quarterback position's in a bad way right now. I think they've adopted a lot of the college quarterbacking game. You see it with the running quarterbacks, and you know what? It just hasn't worked out the way it used to work out. The quarterbacking was much better in the league up until about 10 years ago, and all of a sudden it's fallen off the shelf a little bit. So if you got one, good for you. 250 yards is now very unreachable by many quarterbacks, but that's just the way it is. So I just don't think that the quarterback is the be-all, end-all anymore. I would give you a perfect example is the Chicago Bears. Mm-hmm. They are winning.
It's the coach.
Because of the coach, because of turnovers, because of the running game, and fourth, Caleb Williams. He's not the main reason they're winning. In a lot of other teams, the quarterback's the main reason they're winning. With the Chicago Bears, it's been a team effort, including special teams, too.
100%. Panthers, Bucks, pass. +3 is a home dog with the Panthers. I would lean the Panthers, but the Bucks are really the better team. This Panthers team has some fight, and they have some choke in them too. They're good when they're down. They're bad when they're up. It's just a weird situation.
They got a very good head coach, but I'm very surprised. Baker Mayfield, up to about 3 weeks ago, was an MVP candidate. He went into the shelf. They had a lot of injuries. I'm not going to blame that because they had some injuries when he was playing well. I would lean Tampa Bay here.
All right. What about Jets, Saints? Saints minus 4.5 total, 40.5.
Trap game of the week. Trap game of the week.
Agreed.
4.5. The New Orleans is playing well. Their new quarterback is playing well, but he's still young and he still makes mistakes. I'm going to take the New York Jets in an upset in this game. I think this is the classic trap game. The Jets are going down while the Saints are going up, yet they're not getting even 5 points in this game. I take the New York Jets in a trap game.
I love it. It is a trap game. And what do you do when two bad teams play each other? You take the points. Anything above 3.
Most of the time.
That is the rule, my friend. The rule. Bengals, Dolphins. Dolphins plus 4.5 total, 47.5. This is the new, the game that we somewhat discussed with Tua's benching. I don't know a lot about yours, but I'm just going to say that Tua hasn't been playing good either. So it's like I'm trying to handicap that step. And there's going to be another game where we have to talk about quarterbacks stepping down to the backup. But to be honest with you, I don't know what the hell happened with the Bengals last week. I bet the Bengals at home against the Ravens, and they couldn't even sniff the end zone while getting the same amount of yards as the Ravens. It was just Joe Burrow didn't look like Joe Flacco, a bad Joe Flacco. I don't know what the hell happened.
Well, he's down in the dumps a little bit. He's not used to this kind of beating, this kind of success. He has taken a beating in previous years. They haven't improved their team to help him out a whole lot. They've given him a couple great receivers, tight end that can play. They got a couple guys on defense. Joe Burrow is a player. I keep hearing people saying, what team should he go to? I come from an era where, Michael Jordan played for 7 years before they won anything with the Chicago Bulls. There was no, I'm quitting this team and going to another team. I think Joe Burrow's a superstar. I listen to shows all over that saying, why is he playing? He's making $55 million. You're going to sit as a quarterback when he says he wants to play now. Football, he says, I love football. Okay, he's making $55 million. Let me tell you, they said, well, he shouldn't get hurt so he can set it up for next year. What do you get more respect for? A quarterback like Joe Burrow who's putting himself on the line and wants to play? And how would that look if he sits for 3 weeks getting ready for next year when you have 52 other guys having to play? I'm so sick and tired of people looking for where the Greek Freak should play because he's a little down in Milwaukee. What is this deal? You get paid all this money by these organizations, and the first thing you hear, especially journalists, who most of them they get bruised up in a chess game, for Christ's sake, and they don't have a competitive bone in their damn body. You stick it out. You play with the team that you lead. You're a field general. You're losing a battle in war. You don't say we're not going to go in the battle anymore, guys. And if we do, I as the general aren't going to go. It's a bunch of crap, and I'm getting tired of journalists, especially media people from these conglomerates, saying, "Well, where should he play next?" Because why? Because you guys jump around in your media careers, okay? But football players are conditioned to play regardless of whether they win or lose, and Joe Burrow's a winner, and he wants to play, and I couldn't respect him more for it.
Are you laying the points?
I'm taking Cincinnati.
All right.
I think that Cincinnati's bad enough right now, but Joe Burrow had the biggest stinker he's ever had. What are the chances of him having 2 stinkers in a row?
None.
I don't think it happens.
I'm taking the Dolphins. I'm taking plus 4.5
All right.
on the Dolphins.
Good luck. Good luck with Quinn Ewers.
I don't want Quinn Ewers to throw the ball, Mike. I want them to run it down.
He's not going to walk into that door.
Cincinnati has the lowest rush EPA by any team, and that is all they need to do. And McDaniel, coming from the Niners, should know how to do it. Now, will I get screwed? Is this a high-confidence play? No. I'm just taking a team that's a dog to one of the worst defenses I've seen in this year. So, well, that's okay. It's okay to disagree.
You don't have the running quarterback in Tua to worry about, number one, if you're the Bengals. Number 2, is Larry Zonka walking through that door? Is Eugene Mercury Morris walking through that door? Is Jim Kent walking through that door? No. So who's walking through that door to run the football and hurt the Bengals? And how about Miami on defense? Can they? I bet Pittsburgh Monday. That was one of the easiest bets of my life. And by the way, once again, 2 weeks ago, Mike Tomlin was supposed to be fired. And now he's going to be back in the playoffs, it looks like. So what a football coach he is. I know he can't win a playoff game, but at least you get a chance to go. You don't know they're going to lose before the game, but you know what? I think he did a good job coming back these last 2 weeks after everybody in America wanted him out.
I hate being on the opposite side of the guy that's might win VEASAN this year is all I have to say. Let's move on to the next game. Kansas City Chiefs versus Tennessee. Tennessee home dog all the way down to +3 now. Total 37.5. What do you think about this one with no
Well,
Patrick Mahomes?
I think Kelsey turned soft overnight, and I'm not going to blame Taylor Swift or anybody else. I'm going to blame him.
Right.
Okay.
Should.
Balls bouncing off his hands 3 times that turned into interceptions, including last week. Mahomes is out. 3 points. You know what? Can they win without Mahomes? Kelsey and them guys are ready to pack it in. They looked devastated on the bench at the end last week. I'll tell you how bad my one weekend was. If you would have told me 2 years ago I was going to bet Alabama and Kansas City on the same day and lose, I would have said, you got to be kidding me. But I lost the Kansas City game, and I lost when Alabama lost to Georgia. So it's to me, I'd probably take the dog here. Without Patrick Mahomes, I think they're not even a good football team.
Well, if you're
right
going to
now.
take the dog, you should have took them at 5, 4, 3. It's now down to 3. Here's the thing.
I wasn't on your show at that last time, so now I got to just go with it. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my man! But here's the thing. I'm just saying that books are. I've been fading the Chiefs every week, and it's been my best bet, man. Since the fast pie.
Well, weren't they beating you early a little bit? Didn't they beat you a little bit early?
Well,
now you're right. The last 3 weeks they've been terrible.
5 weeks. I started about 5 or 6 weeks ago. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
The books are going to need Kansas City. Just remember, all I'm saying. I'm not playing this one. Kansas City's offensive line is way too banged up. Kansas City's offensive line is terrible right now. But I'm not playing this one because I think you're going to get
I probably won't either, to be honest.
I think you're going to get an embarrassment effort from them, but I can't trust it. But I'm just going to say the books need the Chiefs this week. The books need the Chiefs. Remember that when you're watching this game. Falcons, Cardinals +2.5. It's around +3, 2.5. Depends upon where you're looking. Total 47.5. I looked at this game, stared at it, and I thought about betting the Falcons, and I said, man, if I really hate myself, I'm betting this game.
Don't put action on the game.
Maybe the fact that I bet the NFL, I hate myself. But this is one you really hate yourself if you're betting this one.
Yeah, I think that they could trade Murray for Tua, and they'd be getting almost the same player. And quite frankly, I think that this is a stay-away game for me. It's not worth it. There's other games you can play.
Hey, rewind this show, and you'll see what we think about.
Oh, yeah. Just rewind what I said. I just think it was a bad political move at a bad time before the holidays, and you're playing Green Bay, and you come up with this nonsense.
Jags, Broncos -3 total, 46.5. I think the Jags found a coach finally. I think they're playing with confident football. I think Denver does not win by margin, and Sean Payton makes boneheaded mistakes. I think Denver's in a flat spot. I think Jacksonville's been disrespected enough. I'm taking the Jaguars.
I'm not going to argue against that because Trevor Lawrence, folks, if you've ever seen Trevor Lawrence and you ever stood next to Trevor Lawrence or somewhere, if you ever seen him on TV, this guy's 6'5", about 235.
He's a beast.
Okay?
He's a beast.
He's a beast. And he's finally figured it out. And he's got a good team and a competent coach.
It's the coach. It's the coach, man. Urban Meyer and all these terrible Peterson.
Peterson.
Just horrible coaches. He's had horrible coaches.
I'm a Trevor Lawrence guy, and this is one of those games that, Jacksonville has proven themselves a couple times now. I've said it earlier this year. If Jacksonville's all that, it's time for them to start winning some games, and they are.
Steelers, Lions -7 in most books. If you search
at Detroit, right?
It's at Detroit. Our friends at FanDuel have -6.5, -120. Totals 51.5. I'm going to call it 7 because most books have it at 7. This is a wonderful teaser leg. I think Detroit could win by margin, though. I'm just going to say that. I think it's a better spot for Detroit. Steelers on a short week. But it's also, you got a pretty confident Steelers team as of right now trying to win their own division. So I thought about laying it. I'm probably not. I'm probably just going to tease the Lions down to 1.
Let me tell you something. Last week I watched, Monday night, I watched the Steelers. I got to be honest. I never seen Aaron Rodgers throw a better football than he did in that game. I mean, he was zipping the balls in. He's got to be able to have time to pass. He can't run like he used to. He seems relaxed. I think he smells the money a little bit. Not that he's been an overwhelming winner. He's only got one Super Bowl in his career. But I like the way he's playing the position. I'd probably take the points in this game with him as the quarterback. He threw such a beautiful ball on Monday night. I was absolutely impressed because this was not the guy I seen, and that's because of the organization that had played for the Jets last year or two.
Houston Texans are 14.5-point favorites at the Raiders.
Ravens have killed me this year. The first few weeks I got off them finally. Pete Carroll, listen, I wanted, and I was right about one thing. I remember when the Bears had not named a coach, and I said Pete Carroll might be a good coach for the Bears. And my buddy goes,
I didn't say that.
I said that my buddy goes, well, he's done. He's never coming back. And then 2 weeks later, after Ben Johnson was hired, they hired Pete Carroll. But I think the Raiders have quit on Pete Carroll. I don't think they have a good football team. I think they might be the worst football team. They've had two big double-digit odds against them the last 2 weeks. I think that the 14, you should cover that. You should cover that.
They are the worst team in the league.
I think the Raiders are. If they tell me about Max Crosby one more time, they should have probably traded him and gotten something for him.
Max Crosby only shows up for big teams.
I'm just telling you. I haven't seen much from him either. I mean, Pete Carroll doesn't have a good team. He's not done a good job, in my opinion. I'm glad he got another gig, but it wouldn't surprise me if he was let go at the end of the year. I don't care what his contract is, but he did inherit a mess over there. Going back to Mike Mayock and those guys, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sunday Night Football, we have I'm actually looking at Monday night right now.
That's all right.
We have the Patriots, and they're dogs to the Ravens by 3 points now. This is getting a little high for this Ravens team that's been looking really bad on offense. I wasn't impressed with the Cincinnati win just because it was just a lot of bad mistakes from Burrow. I have to lean the Patriots at 3.
I'm going to lean the other way. This is another one of those games like, come on, man. How can they be giving New England 3? Are you kidding me? Okay, New England lost a good football game last week. Drake May is the real deal. Okay, and he knows how to play the game. But their defense seemed a little vulnerable at times last week. I am going to take the Ravens here. I'm going to take, and I know that Jackson's been hurting and stuff like that, but the odds, the number sold me on the Ravens here. I think that it should be New England -2, -2.5 as the favorites in this game. So I'll take Lamar.
It is hard for him to get the Patriots to get up after that choke. It is a weird, and the Ravens have to win. They have.
Well, you can have to win. It doesn't mean you're going to win, but this is one of those games where I just think that they'll beat New England. And I just think the odds tell you, even Vegas is telling you, man.
Well, I agree. Whether you say if you have to win, you have to stink, right?
Yeah.
Let's get to then the Monday night game, which is the Niners at the Colts. Now it's down to 5.5. This was 6.5, 5.5. God, is it not 6 anymore somewhere? There must have been some money coming in on the Colts here. To be honest with you, I think that the Niners went through a schedule like a horse carriage taking out the bride and groom through a wedding, my friend. They haven't played anybody the last 4 or 5 weeks at all. This has been literally the easiest schedule, and they've been blowing out teams. Now they're playing a desperate team who now is going to tighten up and show some defense and run the football. And, Phillip Rivers, he looked okay to me. He didn't look that bad.
Funny? You know what's funny? It sort of reminds me of Peyton Manning's last year with Denver, okay? Or when they went to the Super Bowl, and he was just a game manager. But this is a perfect illustration of what I was talking about earlier, how poor the quarterback position is in football. Now, folks, you won't hear this from anybody but me. This is what I do. I do research when I'm going to come on with you. I just can't walk in and go willy-nilly. And who brings up willy-nilly anymore? Me. I will tell you this. There's 800 college football teams in this country, from Division I to all sorts of things. And the fact that they can't find in the National Football League 32 quarterbacks and that they have to dip into the retirement pool from 2020 to bring back a Tyrannosaurus Rex to play for you. And they should have probably won that game last week. They ran the football, and that's what I think they're going to do again this week. He'll pick his spots. He threw a touchdown pass, but the quarterback position is so putrid right now that Phillip Rivers has been out of the game for 5 years, and he's back. I'm going to go San Francisco here. I think there's a lot of Phillip Rivers love out there, period.
All right. I will disagree and go with the Colts at plus 5.5.
Hey, you know what? And somebody's going to win. Huh? We're going to be geniuses.
Yeah. Now it's not 6. Now me and Mike are going to have 2 bragging points here. It's either going to
There you go.
It's either going to be the Colts or the Dolphins. Yeah. And I'll tell you this. I'm not too excited to be bet on the Dolphins, but we'll see what happens. Beer bet bangers, my man. Any plus money bet that you like that's on the board now? It could be any sport if you like, or any dog this week.
You know what's funny? I want to talk a little playoff football. What's James Madison getting?
21.
21 points. Now, it's James Madison. Okay?
Sure.
Here's what I'm going to tell everybody. You won't hear this anywhere else, folks. Okay? Here's what I'm going to tell everybody. Kurt Cignetti was the coach at James Madison. Kurt Cignetti took 12 James Madison players and brought them to Indiana. Okay? And Indiana is where they're at now, the greatest single coaching job maybe in college football history, right? Here's my point. The players from James Madison, a lot of them were still there when Cignetti was there. Okay? And they're since he left, that program, they're in the playoffs. Now, should they be in the playoffs? That's another story for another day. But 21 points against a team that is named after, I don't even know. Was he our fourth?
Are you taking the money line?
No. I would probably, I think a lot of people will take the minus 21 and they'll probably lose by 40. All I'm telling you is these guys were coached by Cignetti. And Cignetti took 12 of these guys and took them to Indiana, and they're the greatest team in college football right now until proven otherwise, beating Ohio State. So I just look at that game. My opinion is Alabama better beat Oklahoma. Otherwise, look, I was with an Alabama fan today, okay? He wears their jersey. You know what he told me? They don't belong in. First time I ever heard him say that. I bet Georgia last week, okay? I bet Alabama last week. It's one of the worst games they ever played, and then they got rewarded. So I'm leaning, though, Alabama getting 1. And I might lean James Madison getting 21. That's a hell of a lot of points.
All right.
Once again, they could lose 40-0, maybe put a unit out.
Alabama and James Madison, parlay them in, you get a unit.
Oh, not parlay.
Oh. Mike, you're the best. Where can our listeners get your great information and media?
All right. You could come to me at the Barroom Network, or that's one of my partner, Aldo Gandia's got shows there. There's bear shows there. There's football shows there. There's a show I do called Somebody Big Just Died. We just did it last night on Rob Reiner. You can see that on Twitter at my Twitter handle at North to North. I make picks every night, NORTH, number 2, NORTH, just the 4 sports. You could also catch me on ESPN 1000. My podcast comes out tomorrow at 1:30 with Carmen DeFalco, and then I'm on Saturday morning on ESPN 1000 at 8 o'clock. We pick all the games. Last week I was 3-1, including Pittsburgh. Minnesota was a great pick of mine. The only game I lost was the Chiefs in that stanza. So there's where you could find me, and you can also find me on the Odds Breakers, my friend.
Find Mike here or anywhere else. You're the best, Mike. We'll be tweeting.
I'll talk to you, baby.
Now it's time for our Refuse to Lose teaser. That's now 7 and 8. I'm going back to the Wong teasers, and a couple good candidates here. We're going to take the Chargers to plus 8 and 8.5. Depends upon what you can get. This is going to go down, I think, because the Cowboys are going to be out of the playoffs by Sunday, most likely. And then the Lions, we're going to take them down to -1 against the Steelers. The Lions need this bad, and the Steelers don't even really need it that bad. 2 stars for this baby, and hopefully this cashes. I'm also playing a Rams plus 11.5 teaser as well, with the Bills -0.5 and the Packers plus 8.5. But by the time you get this show, the Rams game will be over and they'll either be dead or else they'll be alive. Now it is time for
The Sharp Side of the Force.
Sharp Side of the Force, brought to you by FanDuel Sports, a proud partner with the NFL. All right, Sharp Week 16 NFL. We have sharp money on the Eagles, -6.5 to -7 at the Commanders, 78% of the tickets, 87% of the money. Sharp money the Bears, +2.5 to pick, hosting the Packers, 62% of the tickets, 63% of the money. Some buyback now. Titans +5 to +3, hosting the Chiefs, 52% of the tickets, 67% of the money. And the Bills, -9 to -10.5 at the Browns, 77% of the tickets and 80% of the money. Sharp totals. Eagles versus Commanders under 47.5 to 44, 90% of the tickets and 91% of the money. Bills versus Browns under 43.5 to 41.5, 42% of the tickets, 76% of the money. Patriots versus Ravens over 46.5 to 48, 45% of the tickets and 50% of the money. And the Steelers versus Lions over 45.5 to 51.5, 51% of the tickets and 61% of the money. To recap our plays, we're going with the Eagles -6.5. The Bears, pick 'em. The Dolphins +4.5. Unfortunately, Mike disagrees with that one. The Jaguars +3 and the Colts +5.5, where Mike has some disagreement as well. We have a massive weekend of games. I hope you guys enjoy them all. There's going to be NFL on Saturday and Sunday, college football on Saturday, playoffs, and a ton of bowl games. Enjoy the weekend, my friends, and go get some winners.
If you like the show, please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. It really does help the show to grow. Thank you for listening.